Hello to all the participants of this international marathon, which is dedicated to the reading of the scriptures for the benefit of the world. Today we will be reading Canto 7, not all of it, but we'll have an overview and we'll combine or try to combine two events. But the main accent will be on the educational side. It's around the test for the people who perform austerities. We will combine these two events. So every day during this marathon for 12 days, we will be discussing a canto every day. And today is the 5th day, so we should be discussing the 5th canto. But what we'll do today is we'll jump forward. And as we said, Srimad-Bhagavatam is like a lollipop. Whichever side you lick is sweet. So we'll jump forward and discuss Canto 7 of Srimad-Bhagavatam. And first of all, I would like to thank all the participants. It's 4,500 people who are reading Srimad-Bhagavatam with us. And some of them will be finishing to read Srimad-Bhagavatam later. They will continue. But first of all, I wanted to thank His Grace Vrajasundar Prabhu, who has inspired us for this format of reading and studying Srimad-Bhagavatam, so that we read only the texts, but simultaneously we study the purport by Srila Prabhupada. And thanks to this format, this is our third yagya, and we can immerse in something which is beyond material, and this will purify our consciousness. And the previous candidates to sannyasi, the merciful Vaishnavas, have already given their lectures, and I will try to carry on the run and talk about the 7th canto, the deeds of Lord Nrsimhadeva and his devotee Prahlada Maharaja. Let's offer auspicious prayers.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari, Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari, Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana, Shodanandana Braja Janaranjana, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari, Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari, Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana, Shodanandana Braja Janaranjana, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Gopi Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Shodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Shri Shri Radha Madhava ki Jai Shri Shri Panchatattva ki Jai Shri Prahlad Nrsimhadev Bhagavan ki Jai Shri Prabhupada Jagadguru ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai Yugat Harma Harinam Sankirtana Yagya ki Jai Grantara Srimad-Bhagavatam ki Jai Nitai Gaura Premanande Haribo Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayana Namaskrityam Naram Shiva Narotamam Devim Sarasvatim Yasam Tatojaya Mudirayet Nashta Praeshva Bhadrishu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Итак, нам нужно дать обзор.
So we have to do the overview of the previous texts. His Grace Adhokshaja Prabhu finished his part, his verse of the 7th canto, chapter 8, verse 18.
Итак, святой сын
The saintly son of a demon, Hiranyakashipu, who at the time ruled all the universe, he occupied it without even fighting. He was very, very powerful. Where did he get his power? He has been kicked out, let's say so, from the higher world, and he has been cursed for 3 material incarnations, and this was his first material birth from Aditi and Kashyapa Muni, and this was an extraordinary pregnancy. Therefore, this demon appeared, but this all happened according to the plan of the Lord, of course. So he appeared, Prahlada, and while being in the womb of his mother, Prahlada received instructions from Narada Muni about devotional service, and when he was born, he maintained all this knowledge. And when Hiranyakashipu sent Prahlada to school, to a spiritual master, Prahlada Maharaj showed the signs of devotion. What he did, he was preaching Bhakti Yoga. So Hiranyakashipu hoped that his son will take over all the qualities of a king, as he thought. But Prahlada Maharaj didn't deviate from his path of a devotee and continued preaching Bhakti Yoga at school to his associates, classmates, which really annoyed and angered Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu decided to kill his son. Why does he need such a son who worships the Lord? Hiranyakashipu considered himself to be the Lord, so he decided to kill him. But Prahlada Maharaja were focused on the Lord, and the Lord has always been protecting him. And the previous Vaishnavas spoke about this, all this Leela. And we are now at this moment when Nrisimhadeva, the Lord himself, came to protect his devotee. And this happened in the throne hall, where Hiranyakashipu was completely annoyed. He was furious. He started to speak to his son, saying, "Do you think the Lord is everywhere?" That's what Prahlada said. The Lord is everywhere, even in your heart. But Hiranyakashipu didn't believe in this. And the result, in his being furious, he pointed to the pillow and asked pillar, "Is the Lord in the pillar as well?" And Prahlad said, "Yes, of course, he's there." And then Hiranyakashipu smashed this pillar and saw an unimaginable living being. He was absolutely unknown and inexplicable to him. By the Brahma's blessing, Hiranyakashipu thought that he is immortal. And the Lord took this form so that he wouldn't ruin Brahma's blessing, his devotee, and took the form which was neither a human nor animal. That's what the blessing which Hiranyakashipu asked from Brahma. It would be neither an animal or human being or demigod, not on earth, not in the sky, neither during the day nor night, not by any kind of weapon he can be killed. So Nrisimhadev, the Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, took this form so that he can observe all these blessings from Brahma, and nevertheless kill this demon. And this is the form that Hiranyakashipu saw. He was astonished. And there are further verses that follow after the verses read by Hokshaja Prabhu. So he saw this form and he couldn't understand who is in front of him. He was astonished. And Krishna in the Bhagavad-gita says that the fools laugh at me, they can't understand when they see me. I'm neither a human being. So the Hiranyakashipu saw a human body, but the head wasn't human. So he can't understand. And the Lord is hidden so that he wouldn't disclose himself to the fools. And Hiranyakashipu was the personification of this foolishness. Maybe someone will think that they are so elevated and rule the universe, but if the human being does not accept the greatness of the Lord, he becomes a fool. The Lord hides from him, and such people become mudhas. And the higher elevated a human being, a person, the demon of such a level, he rejects the Lord, so he becomes even more highly elevated fool. The more arrogant he is, the more foolish he is. And what happens further? It is described, the form of the Nrisimhadev, it's beautiful, it's always beautiful, glorious for the devotee. And Prahlada saw him too, and he was amazed too. But because he understood that this is his Lord who came, his astonishment gave him bliss. But Hiranyakashipu had fear, he was afraid, he didn't understand what he should do with this person. His hair were burning like fire, His tongue moved like a sword. His teeth were like lightning. Everything was... Hiranyakashipu's imagination was completely astonished. He couldn't understand what he can do. This was the personification of the Lord's anger. But Prahlad didn't feel any fear, because he understood that for the Lord there is nothing impossible. The Lord can take any form. And Hiranyakashipu began to sort of speculate. And he said, it looks like, it seems to be, this is the phrase used in the texts, in the verses, it seems to be speculation. So this word seems to be, it means that the human being is bases upon his own mind and intellect, which they've obtained during their life in the material world. And like people in the material world say, I think, it seems to me, without basing their assumptions on the scriptures, the people are in illusion. And unconsciously, people think they know everything, and unconsciously they elevate themselves to the level of the Lord. That's what Hiranyakashipu considered himself to be. He considered himself to be the Lord. And he asked all his kingdom to treat him as the Lord. And of course, Hiranyakashipu took a sword and decided to fight. But initially it is said he soared into the sky. From being so fearful and amazed, he didn't understand what he needs to do, who is in front of him. He tried to vanish, escape, but it is said Nrsimhadev caught him and simply brought him back. He wanted to enjoy this battle playfully, Lord Nrsimhadeva. Although Hiranyakashipu was like the demons with the demonic consciousness, when they see saintly people in front of them, they try to escape somewhere in their conversations. Like devotees, when the devotees distribute the books or preach somewhere at the university or giving public lectures, that the saintly people are trying to elevate the consciousness of people and give them the knowledge from the scriptures in an accessible way for people. But the demonic people with demonic consciousness try to slip away. They don't know how to react to the arguments of the devotees who explain the essence of the devotion to the Lord philosophy. And these asuras try to give speculative explanations and to deviate, to slip their minds to... and they don't know how to fight against the arguments that the devotees give, because they're so powerful. And that's what Nrsimhadev does. He returns Hiranyakashipu back. So when we preach, the devotees do it playfully. They return the consciousness of people back. When the Lord is nearby, they remember about it, and they do the preaching playfully, so that they can test these people, or they can elevate their consciousness to the level of recognizing themselves as souls, at least at the level of faith. And the devotees are playful, and their preaching is like the beginner style preaching, without immersing into too much philosophy.
Пришло время расправиться с этим демоном, потому что бывает такое, что те, кто слушает проповедь
It happens
преданного,
sometimes when people who listen to the preaching of a devotee, they are waiting for this
сражение, вот эти
battle
споры с
between
демоническим сознанием, потому что
this argument with the demonic
аудитории, как правило, много
consciousness will stop. Usually, there are a lot of people in the hall who come to listen. The majority of people do not have this demonic consciousness. They don't reject the Lord. They simply don't know anything about Him. But sometimes there are people who have aggressive asura consciousness, and they try to fight and to argue. And similarly here, the majority of human beings, the demigods, the wise men who watched this battle, they thought in their hearts, Dear Lord, kill this demon soon, please, let's kill him straight away. It's impossible to tolerate this. It has been described further that Hiranyakashipu has been a headache for all the universe. The heat of his selfishness, arrogance, and obscenity, his obscene behavior towards the demigods was unbearable. Everybody was suffering from him. And people similarly feel, when will this battle be over? Let's carry on. And what do the devotees do? The devotee gives a weighty argument. The devotee reaps the consciousness of people by stating there is Lord, He is the enjoyer. People want to enjoy, but that's what Hiranyakashipu did. His name, Hiranyakashipu, means that he enjoys, he likes to enjoy. Gold and enjoyment, comfort. People, that's what people want. They want to be rich and to enjoy it. And the devotees rip all these arguments. Bhaktaram Yagatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. Bhaktaram, it's the Lord who enjoys everything. And Yagyas and Tapasyas and the planets are being managed by him. Sarvalokam Maheshwaram. And the devotees, they kind of drive in piles into the consciousness of people so that all the arguments can be over. So Hiranyakashipu, he was in the paws of Narasimhadeva, and Narasimhadev put him on his knees and ripped his chest. He didn't slow, he wasn't, and everybody who saw this were also amazed by the mightiness of Narasimhadeva. They thought that Hiranyakashipu could have been the Lord, he was so powerful, but the Lord simply affirmed his position. And everybody who was present and saw this fight, they started to offer prayers to Narasimhadeva. And before this, the Lord Narasimhadev saw his associates of Hiranyakashipu, his warriors, who also tried to attack him, but he playfully, easily, with his nails, killed everyone. When somebody is on the side of the demonic consciousness during the preaching, and they're trying to give arguments, and the devotee, like Narasimhadeva, calms the hearts of these demonic kind of people, he doesn't kill them, but he kills their demonic consciousness. And of course people may not understand this straight away, but because the devotee does it with love, he gives the seed, the bija of love into their hearts, and it will grow after a while. And further in this chapter, the demigods start to, all the wise men, Gandharvas, Siddhas, Charanas, they start to offer prayers one by one to Nrisimhadeva, glorify him, and they feel that the Lord Nrisimhadeva doesn't stop there. They are afraid of him still. And what do they do? Brahma asks Prahlada, it seems like you are the only one who is not afraid here. Maybe you can come and pacify Lord Nrisimha. Come over to him, don't worry. And Prahlada, he does it. He has no fear because he's already developed this devotion while he was in the womb of his mother. He received the knowledge from Narada Muni and he devoted himself to the Lord already. Maybe he wasn't yet fully absorbed in the devotion. He didn't feel it fully yet. He didn't feel that much love yet, but he felt it when Nrisimhadev touches his head with his hand. And at this point of time, Prahlada Maharaj purifies completely. And with a trembling voice, he starts to pray to the Lord. Why does he accept this so easily and quickly, being purified? It is said that because his consciousness was constantly immersed into the spiritual atmosphere, his heart was pure because was always absorbed into spirituality. He was always thinking about the Lord. And the one who does this gets free from material contamination. The one who always thinks about the Lord, he purifies from this contamination and sees everything in the spiritual color. It is said in this verse that this devotee who thinks about the Lord and is pure, he sees the yagya and he sees what is being put in this fiery yagya. And Prahlada saw everything spiritually. He didn't see anything materially. Everything was related to the Lord and spiritualized for him. So he had no fear. Fear has material nature. And that's what happens in the material world. Even the demigods, from fear, the wind blows, the sun rises, the rain, and even death wanders around this world from fear, although everybody is feared of her. So the devotees in Krishna consciousness are not fearful at all. So Prahlada purified and he offered prayers full of love. That's a brief overview of the chapter and texts. And today we'll read canto 7, chapter 9, where Prahlada pacifies Nrisimhadeva, verse 8, Sanskrit.
Shri Prahlada Uvacha Brahma Dayah Suragana Munayot Hasidha Satvaika Tana Gatayo Vachasam Pravahai Naradhitum Puru Gunair Adhuna Pitru Kim Toshtum Arhati Same Hari Ugrajate.
Translation. Prahlada Maharaja prayed, "How is it possible for me, who have been born in a family of asuras, to offer suitable prayers to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Even until now, all the demigods, headed by Lord Brahma, and all the saintly persons could not satisfy the Lord by streams of excellent words although such persons are very qualified, being in the mood of goodness. Then what is to be said of me? I am not at all qualified. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. A Vaishnava who is fully qualified to serve the Lord still thinks himself extremely low while offering prayers to the Lord. For example, Krishnadasa Kaviraja Goswami, the author of Chaitanya Charitamrita, says,
Jagai madhai haite munise papishtha purishera kita haite munise lagishtha.
Chaitanya Charitamrita Adilila 5:205. Thus he considers himself unqualified, lower than the worms in stool, and more sinful than Jagai and Madhai. A pure Vaishnava actually thinks of himself in this way. Similarly, although Prahlada Maharaja was a pure, exalted Vaishnava, he thought himself most unqualified to offer prayers to the Supreme Lord. Mahajano Yanagatah Sa Padkhana. Every pure Vaishnava should think like this. One should not be falsely proud of these Vaishnava qualifications. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has therefore instructed us. Trinadapi Sunichina, Tarorapi Suhishnana, Amanina, Amanadana, Kirtanya Sadahari. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and though should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. Unless one is meek and humble, to make progress in spiritual life is very difficult. That's the end of the comment by Prabhupada.
Om Agyana Timiranda Syagananjana Shlakaya Chakshurum Militamina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Skapitamina Bhutale Svayam Rupakadamahyam Dadati Svapadantika Vancha Kalpatarubhicha Kripa Sindhu Bhyovacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimadi Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinamini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashtya Desha Tarine.
So Prahlada Maharaja immediately takes the right mindset. Why? Because he's a Vaishnava. The Vaishnava doesn't need to apply effort to take a certain mood. Similarly to a human being not needing to feel full after having a meal. The feeling of fullness comes by itself. And when a devotee becomes a Vaishnava, there are devotees who are not Vaishnavas yet. So when they become Vaishnavas, they don't need to apply any effort to have the right attitude, mood. And Prahlada took this mood straight away. And he said, who am I? How can I, if you are so exalted personalities, were not able to pacify Lord Narasimhadeva, how can I do? And Srila Prabhupada gives an example here of Lord Chaitanya. And this example is the highest reflection of humility of a devotee, the mood in which the prayers should be offered. So the devotee is always in this mood. Why? Because he does not want to lose the Lord from his sight. As soon as a person loses this mood, he loses the ability to develop spiritually. It will be very difficult for him to develop spiritually, because pride will deviate him from the path of self-consciousness. The world has been created so that everybody wants to enjoy here. And in order to do that, you have to be someone. And when a human being becomes humble, he understands that he doesn't have any more wishes to enjoy. He's bhakta, not bhokta. Bhokta is a lord. He enjoys. And bhakta is the one who gives the joy. And to give the joy, you have to be humble. To serve, only humble person can serve. So Lord Chaitanya says, Trinada Pisanachina, the humility of a straw on the street, not just grass which can grow, but straw which will never be able to rise. You can just step on it. If you step on grass, it can raise, and it can become proud. While straw has nothing to be proud of. And why the devotee does it? Why do they want to become humble? Humility gives certain qualities. When a devotee is humble, he becomes tolerant easily, because this quality will help him to support this mood of humility. If a human being is intolerant, and he doesn't develop this quality of tolerance, he cannot be humble for a long time. And therefore the holy name or meditation on the Lord will vanish straight away. We can see, while reading Bhagavatam, how different great souls try to keep the Lord, and the Lord is in front of them for a while. But as soon as the devotee stops praying, while they're praying, they're humble. But as soon as they stop praying, the Lord gives them blessings and leaves immediately. He can't stay for a long time. Why? Because the devotee starts to enjoy when he sees the Lord. Seeing the form, and being in the material body with material consciousness, although they're very pious people and can live in the mode of goodness, but the Lord, seeing that a human being or devotee who have been praying just now, he will lose this concentration. After seeing him, he will lose the humility, and the Lord leaves, so that the human being wouldn't enjoy the Lord. And thus, they will keep the correct set of mind of a devotee who gives joy to the Lord. So we have to be humble, like a tree, tolerant like a tree. And when a person develops this quality of patience, it's easy for them to be humble, and by the mercy of the Lord in their heart, they have possibilities to progress further. Amanina, amadana, they have to be respectful to others and not expect that in return. If a human being, if a person expects to be respected, their tolerance ends. If and he starts to become to have their pride, and proud people have no respect to other people. And the Lord says, you should respect everyone, all living beings, not some selected people. You have to be respectful to everyone. Why do we need to respect everyone? Because in the heart of every living being there is a super soul. The Lord says, I'm in the heart of every living being. And we have to respect them because the Lord is there in their heart. And when a person respects all living beings, they will never expect to have respect to themselves. Why? When someone expects to be respected, they are proud. And when they don't, they become humble and tolerant. Who am I to be respected? They think. I'm below the straw. How can straw be proud? No way. And that's the mood of Prahlada Maharaja. Who am I to pray to Narasimha Deva and pacify him? And in this state of mind, we can always, constantly, Kirtanya Sadahari, chant the holy names. And if we have this mood, they will be respectful to Krishna. Why? Krishna is a living being. He is not an ordinary one, but he is a superior, supreme living being. And the devotee who has these qualities of they will transfer their respect to the Lord, but even higher. And in this mood, they can always chant the holy names. And as soon as they change this mood of respect to the Lord, the devotee will immediately get the desire to be respected. And they instantly lose patience and humility. And the Lord leaves. And then a person offers praise, but he has no emotions, no bhava. And the prayers without the emotion is dry. There is no Lord there. And by chanting in this way, we turn into some parrots, which can repeat the holy name for a long time. And the devotees sent me a video once where there is a parrot who chants the Mahamantra. There were two videos. In one video, the parrot is repeating Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, and we can see that somebody tells him to say that, and the parrot repeats Hare Krishna. And we wonder, what a clever bird. He can repeat, chant the holy name. What an extraordinary one. He has received the mercy of the Lord. Maybe he will be liberated. That's how the devotees watch this video and are happy for this parrot. And another video, there was a parrot in the cage. The first one wasn't in the cage. He was sitting on a branch. He was free. He can repeat, chant the mantra or not. He has the freedom. And the other one was sitting in the cage, and he wasn't simply chanting. He was singing the holy names.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
And if we see this parrot and we think, wow, what an elevated parrot. He chanted the whole Mahamantra non-stop. And he even sings the holy names. He sings the holy names, not just chants.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
And the parrot sings, and he sings one after one after one. He crawls around the whole cage. And at first it feels funny, but then after a while I felt in my heart the suffering from this parrot who was chanting the holy name. I was feeling sorry for this parrot. I felt compassion because he was crying, he wasn't happy. He was in the side of the cage, he can't leave the cage. He can see the wonderful world around and can't leave this cage. And he's even mindless there. He's not happy. He's just repeating. He's suffering. And at some point of time I saw, this is me. I'm like a parrot. Sometimes I'm chanting the mantra inside of the cage of this body and suffer in this world. I have no love to Krishna. This is illusion that I'm a devotee chanting the Maha Mantra 16 rounds motionlessly. But where is my mind? My mind is crawling around the cage. My mind likes this, it wants to smell this, lick that through the Shastras, and it thinks that I will chant the 16 rounds and quickly engage myself in some service. I have a lot of duties. I'm a regional secretary. I have to talk to these people. I have to look after the farm and the cows. And my mind is crawling in this cage and has no taste. There is no Trinada Pisanchina, no humility. Who am I to feel the holy name? And sometimes people ask me, do you feel the holy name? And I think, what should I say? If I say I don't, I will disgrace myself. If I say yes, I do, I will feel pride. And our body is like this cage. That's why Prahlada Maharaja folds his palms and says, who am I to offer these prayers? He doesn't do it playfully. He does it very sincerely, because he's recognized himself as a soul. Who am I to offer these prayers? And therefore, devotee should, with full seriousness, chant the holy names. And how can we do this? How can we become so serious? We have to follow the pace of time, of the time of life. The life is so short. And this can be done by somebody who has achieved the level of Brahman. I'm a spiritual being. And as soon as a devotee thinks in this way, he understands, realizes that his life is so short. I almost don't live. I was born and I'd have to die almost instantly. I need to add something to this understanding of my short life. I need to be serious. What are my thoughts? What am I thinking about? And acknowledge it honestly. And Prahlada does this. Who am I? Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, who am I? And Srila Prabhupada gives an example of him. Who am I? I'm a dung worm. It's not just words. Only a devotee can think like in this way, who understands where he is, in what kind of cage he is, and how can we get out of this cage. We need to get the blessings from the devotees. Brahma told Prahlad, go, you should go. Prahlad would never do that himself. The devotee asked him, only you can do it, they said. And what we should do like Prahlada? Why did Prahlada go there? To pacify Narasimhadeva. He knows that he can't pacify him. How can he pacify him? He knows it, but he does it because the devotee asked him. He trusts the devotee, and he does. He goes to Narasimhadeva. Prahlad is engaged only in one thing. He glorifies the Lord, and thus he preaches. The devotee, the Vaishnava, never think about anything else but how to save the fallen soul, jivas. And to do that, they have to glorify the Lord, and that's the preaching, not simply glorify. Vaishnava is compassionate. They don't think about anything else but about the suffering of other people and how to save them. Prahlada goes and glorifies the Lord and preaches this way. This is fearlessness of Prahlada. And therefore the devotees should take this mood as an example of a preacher. And then we will always be thinking about the Lord. Think about me. How? What should we think about, Lord? I have so many plans, projects, home, family, wife, renunciation, shastras. How can we think about you, Lord? It's very difficult to think about everything in this world. We were living peacefully, and then suddenly this coronavirus came and laid everyone down. All devotees, non-devotees. The devotees are still alive, of course. They trust the Lord and they will survive. But the whole world is completely shaken. How can we think about the Lord? We are always in fear. Lord, please help me to cure. Please help me to save my business from this coronavirus. Give me. We keep asking. Give me some sense gratification. Give me the way not to lose this sense gratification. And then I'm not Bhakta, I'm Bhokta. I'm the Lord again. The mood of Prahlada is the mood of a preacher. And how do we do that? We glorify the Lord. So the devotees, if they want to develop this quality of Prahlada Maharaja, they need to feel as a Vaishnava. Brahma was here. Brahma tells him, go. And we should feel that as if we are asked by Brahma, who is our guru in our parampara. And he tells us through our spiritual master, through Guru Parampara, through Srila Prabhupada, and our mentors, we are being asked, go to people and preach. The life is so short. Why are you thinking about your plans? You will forget about the Lord this way. Go and preach. It doesn't matter whether you're a family man or a renounced a sannyasi. You go to work. But continue preaching, and you have to be persuasive. Glorify your Lord. Oh, we can be told, you are such a good worker. A director can tell us, a devotee works on the conveyor. You are such a good worker. And what does a devotee have to reply? He says, it's not me. It's all by the mercy of the Lord. He's inside my heart, and that's by His mercy. I can do it. You are His representative. And I'm only serving the Lord, and I'm serving you. That's how the devotees preach. They are fearless. They go outside in the street, and in any situation they glorify the Lord straight away. They're always thinking about the Lord. Their mind will always be engaged in remembering and thinking and glorifying about the Lord. And thus we should pray to Prahlada Maharaja and ask him, please, Prahlada Maharaja, protect us from this strange feeling of wanting to enjoy this world. This world is not created for enjoyment. It's created for suffering, so that through this suffering, the human being can understand that they should leave this world. There is no enjoyment here. This world was created for us to realize that we should stop this enjoyment, and we need to learn to be selfless here. This is the basis of Bhakti Yoga. Don't expect anything. Preach and don't expect anything. Somebody will scold you. But be tolerant. Prabhupada said, you will preach and you will be insulted, you will be kicked, and they can even kill you. That means that you're doing something, you're preaching, but don't be afraid, Krishna will protect you. Otherwise, how can we develop relations with Krishna? We have to trust. We have to trust Him and believe that He will protect us. This is fearlessness should come to every devotee. It is said that this is the quality of sannyasi. Otherwise, how will you trust the Lord if you have no this quality? But who is a sannyasi? The one who performs his duty and is not attached to the fruit of his labor.
Anashita karma bhalam. Karyam karma karotyaha. Sa sannyasi cha yogicha naniragirna chakriyaha.
The one is the sannyasi who is not attached to the fruit. And it doesn't matter whether you're a family man or not. If you act and you're not attached and simply perform your duty, the results, you're not expecting the results and all the thinking about Krishna, then you are a sannyasi. You are a renounced person and you can preach powerfully. That's how Prabhupada acted. Even before he took sannyasa, he was always thinking about the Lord and performed his duty. So we have to meditate on these qualities which Lord Chaitanya gave us in this verse, to be humble, very humble. Think about Prahlada, and this quality will come. Be tolerant. He was been attempted. There were so many attempts to kill him, but he tolerated it, and he was very respectful to everyone. He loved everyone. He didn't have any enemies. Even his father, who was killing him, he didn't consider his father to be his enemy. He was always respectful, and he was constantly chanting the holy names. So meditate on Prahlada and ask him, please give me the intellect, give me these qualities. You're always thinking about the Lord. And then we can fulfill this instruction from Lord Chaitanya in this verse. This is instruction. This is not just a beautiful verse. It's instruction from Lord Chaitanya for us. And the devotee should fulfill it if they want to get rid of the suffering, at least. If they want to receive love for God. If they want to be an active preacher, they need to accept this instruction, verse as an instruction. So if we summarize this, Prahlada Maharaj, he doesn't expect any respect. He's standing there, surrounded by these exalted persons. He is there by the will of fate, and his father wanted to kill him, and then Nrsimhadeva appears. And Prahlada was simply standing there, praying and enjoying this happiness of seeing the Lord. He didn't want to simply enjoy. It comes like, it's natural for a devotee to be happy and blissful. And the demigods came, appeared and started to glorify. But the Lord wasn't pacified yet, so they asked him, Brahma asked Prahlada, go, please pacify him. And Prahlada humbly goes and thinks, who am I to pacify the Lord? But if a pure devotee asks me, I'll try to do this. I can't go against his wish. I take it as an instruction. For a disciple, the instruction of the Guru is an order. And they shouldn't think whether they should do it or not. It's an order. So this was the mood of Prahlada Maharaja when he came to Nrsimhadeva. And there will be a further discussion. We'll continue today. We'll discuss further verses. And this was a very brief overview. It's not the whole canto 7, but we've taken one important part by the mercy of Srimad-Bhagavatam and by the mercy of purport by Srila Prabhupada and Vaishnavas who engage us in the service. We are trying to, as much as possible, discuss a small part of it from different sides. Thank you all very much for this wonderful gathering around Srimad-Bhagavatam. We read verse 8, canto 9, canto 7, chapter 9, which is called Prahlada pacifies Lord Nrsimhadeva with prayers. And we will continue our usual format of a marathon. The main broadcast should be switched off now, so we have half an hour for questions and answers. Just a moment. We are waiting for the questions to arrive from the broadcast. We are changing the format a little bit. What I mean is we will not be so much immersed into the devotion and serving to the Lord in our discussion, and there will be question and answers. So Yulia is asking, in order to understand the Lord, do we need to first understand the person, their psycho, their subtle nature? What do we need to be aware of in marriage to help each other on what should be, and what should be discounted? If you have enough knowledge about this material world, you can use this knowledge by observing people. There are two questions in one question. To understand the Lord, do we need to first understand the person, their subtle nature? Yes and no. It's necessary and not. If you know a human being, if you know the philosophy, you know that there is Lord in their heart, and you are treating him nicely. You don't sin against this person. You don't exploit this person. And thus, little by little, you will know the Lord even better, because your heart purifies. We know the Lord because our heart purifies, not because we are studying something. But if we don't purify our hearts, we can become asuras. The demons are like Ravana, for instance. He was a demon. He was the next incarnation of Hiranyakashipu, Ravana. So Ravana was one of the most powerful personalities who knew the Vedas so much that even the demigods from the heavenly planets asked him to perform yagyas. He knew the Vedas so well, but because he didn't purify his heart, he remained a villain who exploited, killed others. So our heart purifies when we serve other people. Because the Lord is already in our hearts. So what should we know about each other in marriage to help each other on the way, and what should be discounted? Just remember that Lord is in the heart of your spouse. Remember that there is a soul there. And the soul there wants to go back to Godhead. And in this world, the soul is conditioned. It can behave incorrectly. It will want to enjoy this world and be egoistic. And this jiva in this body will disturb you. In the male or female body, it doesn't matter. Because we are in a cage. A body is a cage which will always demand something. Until a human being escalates to a spiritual level, becomes a brahmana, this is the problem in your life. And that's what you should discount. The imperfections is what you should discount. If you want to have a family, you shouldn't react to everything, all filthy that comes out of this other person. But to do that, to be able to do that, you have to be a spiritual person yourself. You can see the egoism, but don't pay attention to that. Never mind. Don't immerse there. Don't emphasize those imperfections. If you don't have close, friendly relationships, if you are not a mentor of your spouse, and that's a high level. Or if you are a mentor, you can sometimes cut your spouse's false ego, but not everybody should be doing it. It's not that easy to do. There should be an agreement between you two, that from time to time you agree that you will be able to cut this false ego, and that should be done at the beginning of your relationship. You can just agree that, I'm sorry, please forgive me, from time to time I will be cutting your false ego, and the other person has to agree, yes, sure, I agree, otherwise how will I progress? But before you do that, you shouldn't even approach it. Close your eyes. Don't see the body in front of you. Discount that this is the body, and discount that this body will disturb you from time to time. It's like you're walking in the street, for example, and there are so many cars and advertisements and noises and people around you, and you're speaking on the mobile phone. What do you see outside? Nothing. You're only hearing the voice of a person you are speaking to. Maybe you will see a road so that you don't step into the puddle or break the laws. It all exists around you. But you are absorbed into the conversation, so you don't notice the surroundings. Similarly here, what you should be focusing on is that you have a personality in front of you. He has the God in his heart, and his external body, some splashes out of his mouth, some rudeness, shouting, never mind. What's important is your spiritual way and your service to the Lord. Everything else discounted. And to be able to do that, you have to be patient, tolerant. Nadezhda is asking a question. Nadezhda is a name, because in Russian, Nadezhda means hope. Why sometimes the associates of the Lord were born in the families of non-devotees? It's the Lord's leelas with them. It's his preaching. He leaves them alone. So the question is, they can't have material desires, right? And why the Lord himself did not play the role of a Vaishnava from birth? I don't understand this question. Which Leela is meant when the Lord isn't playing the role of Vaishnava? There isn't such a birth. The devotees have no material desires, and they never suffer in material worlds. Vaishnavas don't. Neither Hiranyakashipu, nor Ravana, nor Shishupala with Dantavakra, no Kumbhakarna, the brother of Ravana, no Hiranyaksha, the brother of Hiranyakashipu. These are the two inhabitants of Vaikuntha, Jaya and Vijaya, came here. They came here, and this was the leelas of the Lord. Nobody suffered. And even Jagai and Madhai, who personified on the earth, they didn't suffer, they only enjoyed. They had no suffering. And in order to kill them by the Lord, to be killed by the Lord, they had to perform all conceivable and unthinkable sins. They were all of them were the sinners, and they did not suffer. They enjoyed. But this doesn't mean that their material desires, that they have material desires. No. It's interesting what kind of birth. Maybe there is somewhere, but I can't remember when the Lord didn't play a role of Vaishnava. if it was the incarnation of the Lord. He has always behaved like a devotee. Okay, question from Yulia. The relationship between genders is the main topic of spiritual world. Interesting statement. No, I don't know what you mean. Having no close relationship. Oh, this exists in the material world, but not in spiritual world. But reading the question further, having no close relationship with women who have difficult characters, how do renounced people understand even more difficult relationship in spiritual world? You see, right now we are trying to understand spiritual things with our material intellect, and it's impossible. Spiritual things cannot be understood by the material intellect or material formulas or logic, material logic. Spiritual things cannot be understood this way. In the spiritual world, nobody thinks about the opposite gender. This is what happens in this material world. There are no genders in the spiritual world. There are souls there. There is only one gender. Everyone is a servant. It doesn't matter which kind of body there is, female or male. They're all servants. And their relations as if the opposite sexes. There is only one opposite sex. Krishna is the male. All the other souls have a female nature. It doesn't mean female body. The body and nature are different things. We can see sometimes people in male body and have female character, or women with male character. This is material world. Gender and body are different things. The female nature means a servant, always. Prakriti is the one who serves. It's the nature. The nature has a female nature. The one who gives birth, the female, which means service. It's a servant. It's a female nature to serve, and the male nature is to accept service. And when a woman wants to accept service, she destroys her female nature and becomes a man, and something mixes up. In the spiritual world, there is only one man, male, Krishna. He receives the service, accepts the service, and everyone else is serving, regardless of the types of the body. The cowherd boys, nobody is trying to engage Krishna in the service to themselves. It's the opposite. The Krishna accepts the service. That's the secret of spiritual world. And here, everybody wants to become Krishnas, even in the female body. Serve to me. Make it so that I will enjoy. And then you contradict to your nature of a servant and you will suffer. That's how suffering happens. This world is the veil of misery. That's where suffering comes from. When a person is engaged in service, they will never suffer. Maybe they can suffer because they are not serving well enough. That's how Mama Yashoda suffered. Krishna left to Mathura from Vrindavan and she suffered. She was not able to serve him anymore. She wanted to serve, but she couldn't. And she suffered. Same Nanda Maharaja and Vasudeva, when he knew that Krishna left the planet, he died. he looked around, he didn't see Krishna anywhere, and he realized there is no object for my service anymore, and he died. He couldn't take it anymore. And that's how the father of Lord Ramachandra, he was serving, and when the Rama grew up and left for the forest, his father died because there was no object for service. And how do renounced people understand? The renounced people don't understand anything between men and women. You shouldn't ask this question to the renounced people about genders, sexes, about conceiving, about birth, bringing up, earning money. All this is in the duality of the opposition of the two sexes. The renounced people don't understand anything in these matters. They can advise something, but it's not in their nature, especially about women with difficult characters. How do renounced people understand even more difficult relationships in the spiritual world? Anastasia asked the next question. In this lecture, you spoke about devotees chanting Mahamantra without humility and tolerance. Can these qualities be developed? By the process of chanting Mahamantra and prayers to the Lord to obtain these qualities. Yes, Anastasia, this is the cure, this is medicine. The devotees of the Lord are not different. We can ask Prahlada, he has these divine qualities. And he asked Krishna, when we chant Mahamantra, "Oh Radha, oh Krishna, please engage me in the service to the devotees." That's the point, the whole point of Mahamantra. That means that I already became humble. Please engage me in service. That means I'm at least trying to be humble. And the fact that we chant the holy name, it cleanses our heart from filth, pride, greed, envy, illusion. All these demonic qualities, and the holy name cleanses our heart from the filth which accumulated during many, many years. It's not an earthly filth, it's our bad qualities. And when we chant the holy name, all these bad things vanish, and the soul takes its natural position, which is being extremely humble. When the soul awakens, it becomes extremely humble. So yes, you're right. Tolerance will come as well. We are chanting the holy name, and what do? We are tolerating the attack of our minds, different thoughts which attack our soul. All these thoughts attack our soul, and what do? We are tolerating, and we are humbly chanting the holy name. We just are patient, we tolerate, and that's how we develop tolerance. Tatiana is asking a question. How to manage my ego when the relatives instruct and criticize me? And you shouldn't look at your relatives when they criticize you. Don't try to overcome your ego. You won't win it anyway. It's very powerful. We have been pumping up the muscle of our ego for millions of lives. If you want to test the power of your ego, look at your body and see how you were conditioned. That's the level of our egoism. And can you get rid of it straight away? No, you won't be able to manage it. And don't look at other people who criticize you as, don't see the body. Chant the mantra and realize that you are a spiritual being. And you will understand that spiritual beings do not have the false ego. As soon as you chant the mantra, you will feel more power to overcome this, to feel this, to tolerate this criticism, because it doesn't relate to you as a soul. It is hard for the false ego. They're insulting your pride, but it's not you. You are a soul. You are a spiritual being. That doesn't relate to you at all. Be like our spiritual teacher. Our spiritual teacher gives an example. Be a duck. If you pour a bucket of water on the duck, it will do that and quack, quack, quack. And the water didn't affect the duck. Of course, you shouldn't quack at your opponent or your relative, and you shouldn't quack at them, of course, but internally become a duck and say to yourself, yes, perhaps I have this, because it's true. It's very harsh, but it's true. You should understand that the Lord in the heart of your relative encourages them to show your impurities, imperfections. And accept something that you can change now, and things that you can't change now, just don't accept them. But by all means, don't make excuses, because as soon as you start making excuses, you will look like a fool in the eyes of the Lord, which is in the heart of your relative and your own heart. Because they're telling you the truth. They just use the wrong words, in the wrong mood. They have not brought up well themselves. From the inside, what they want to say? They want to say, my dear, my darling, could you please, as much as possible, if you can, of course, please, could you a bit kinder? That's what they want from their heart, but because their consciousness is impure, they bark at you like dogs. The dogs bark, but what do they say? They simply say, the dog is trying to say, just pass by, this is my house, I protect it, I have a master, he feeds me, just go away, pass by. That's what the dog says, but it barks, we hear the barking. That's the voice of the dog. That's their language. The same with people who criticize you. Just try to understand. There's something wrong with their intellect, but they're saying the right thing. And think, Tatiana, what exactly touches you that you cannot tolerate, and change that, and thank that person. Maybe not out loud, because they can become proud, but internally thank them, and externally you can just say, thank you, I'll try to change. Please don't expect me to change immediately, but I will try. But please do not make excuses. Only the liars make excuses. If somebody is making excuses, please understand they're a liar. They are lying to themselves and to you. Just tolerate. Have tolerance. It will be very useful for you in the future. Anna is asking a question. Please explain how to become fearless for the relatives. Can I offer prayers to Lord Nrsimhadev? How to pray for my husband during the moments of danger? What should I meditate on? Trust the Lord. read Bhagavatam, and you will understand that everything that happens there has been planned. Remember, we are reading a story about Dhruva Maharaja when he was destroying yakshas. And so everyone came and asked him, why do you think that yakshas killed your brother? No, it's time that killed your brother. His time has come. And yaksha was just the instrument in the hands of the Lord. If you know this, you should be peaceful. And Dhruva Maharaja started to realize. He didn't have the full understanding yet. And then Kuvera comes and he says even deeper things. He says, Dhruva, don't suffer so much that you killed so many yakshas. Of course, your brother was killed at his fate, we understand it, but please don't suffer too much that you've killed so many servants of mine. It's time that killed them. So Dhruva gets an even wider perception. Nobody can overcome the influence of time. The Lord is behind everything. And Dhruva completely gave up and understood that he should stop. What am I doing? So this question is about how to obtain this fearlessness. Trust the Lord. The Lord controls everything. But it doesn't mean that we shouldn't pray for the relatives. Of course we should. And that's what you mean in your question. There are two questions here. How to obtain fearlessness. You should stop thinking that something depends on you. The fate is flawless. It's impeccably precise. It will come to everyone at some point of time and do whatever they need to get. You can't change anything. Just stay calm. You can help this human being, this man, with your prayers. Can you help this person? Be calm. Can you help this person? Even if you cannot help this person, still be calm. Don't be fearful. Think about their soul and your relatives, that they are Aham Brahmas, they're spiritual beings. The bodies, yes, they may change. Somebody may fall or even die. But this is just body. The higher your spiritual level is, the calmer you will be inside, internally. I had this feeling once, not even once, several times. When I encountered these situations, when I saw this in real life, I was thinking initially that if somebody comes over and kicks me, my body will feel pain, and I will at least snap back to say, what are you doing? When I see somebody suffering, I want to react somehow. But how does it work in practice? And I once was distributing the books. And book distribution is a very special process of very quick spiritualization of your consciousness, because you're constantly thinking and talking about the Lord. You're constantly thinking about the Lord, so your consciousness becomes spiritual. So I've seen people die in front of me several times during Sankirtana. I've seen death several times. And I was feeling calm. I'm not the same as before I became took on spiritual life. I was so happy that I felt calm. Not, of course, because somebody died, but because I had this calmness inside. I saw a man who exited a bus, fell on the road, hit his head over the stone and over the pavement, and the skull broke, the blood was there, and I thought, okay, the body, the soul left the body, and people were so anxious. They were trying to call the ambulance, but what can you do? You can't force the soul back into the body because their time is over. Similarly, like our time is over. You are calm. One old man was in winter was walking on the pavement, Then he sat, lied down, and died. This happened instantly. I didn't understand at first. I thought he doesn't feel well, so I thought, should I come over and help him? And there was another man in front of me, because I was standing about 20 meters away. So while I was walking towards this elderly man, another man came over and tested his pulse. And when I came over, I asked, can I help? And the man answered, why? A dead person does not need help. And I was feeling calm, as if nothing happened. Nothing extraordinary happened. Okay, if a person died, how can it help them? So when you look at the events through the prism of knowledge, you will always be fearless. The spiritual practice, awakening, gives you a fearlessness. That's the first thing that you get, because the soul is eternal. Fear is for the material world. That's what Prabhupada said. In the material world, people always have fear, because their consciousness is material. I offered, maybe I should call police. And the man said, no, I'm a militiaman. I'm a policeman myself. I'll do it all. Don't worry. Just go. Thank you. And I was thinking, wow, the Lord has arranged it so. A person died. We don't need an ambulance because he died. And we don't need police because this person is already there, the policeman. Amazing. What I did is chanted the mantra, and the policeman looked at me, and I said, it's just the holy names, just in case they can help this soul. So, remain calm. How to pray? Chant the mantra to Narasimha Deva. Yes, it's very auspicious. Yeah? If you pray for your closest relatives, it's very good. Lord Narasimha Deva is the only incarnation of Krishna. It's not the incarnation of Krishna, it's himself, the Lord himself. There are two incarnations where he comes himself. It's Rama, Lord Rama, and Narasimha Deva. The others are incarnations of the Lord Vishnu. There is another confidential incarnation, Lord Chaitanya, who is Krishna himself, of course. And Narasimha Deva is the Lord who came to protect his devotee. He has no other purpose. That was the quickest incarnation. He came, protected, and left. That's it. And that's why he loves the devotees. He likes to protect them. He wants to protect the devotees who pray to him. Of course, you should pray, yes. He will help. What should you meditate upon? If you want protection, meditate on his claws. Who do you want to be protected from? From the demons. And we asked Narasimha Deva, please protect us from the demons in our mind who live in our heart. The demons and the demigods live in our hearts. In other yugas, they live separately, and in our yuga, they live in our hearts together. So please, Narasimha Deva, protect us on our spiritual way, because the demons do not let us. They are our obstacles, and the Narasimha Deva eliminates all obstacles. Prahlada Maharaja has been protected this way. It's time to finish this air. Thank you very much to you all for your questions, for your realizations. Be happy, have a good mood. See you soon.